Crypto and the stock market have taken massive hits over the last couple of days, ever since the FOMC meeting, and Jerome Powell basically came out and said, look, we're probably going to be cutting interest rates in the September meeting, and we've seen the Dow shed 600 points. Crypto is down significantly, with Bitcoin dropping below $64,000 per coin, and right now, if we're looking at some things in terms of altcoins, I think it's presenting some major opportunities for coins like Cardano, Solana, Core blockchain, and a few others. So if we're looking at the overall crypto market right now, we can see that the market is down pretty substantially after the recent meeting with the Federal Reserve, when Jerome Powell came out and said about interest rates. We've seen that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, everything is down a good between 5 and 10% over the last 24 hours. Some things down even more. We can look in terms of the top 100 cryptos by market cap. We're seeing some meme coins take an even larger hit of around 12 to 15, 20%. And if we're looking at Bitcoin right now, there's a few things to actually be pretty bullish about despite the recent pullback in the market. First thing is going to be that large Bitcoin holders added $5.4 billion in Bitcoin during the month of July. And this is the most that we have ever seen large Bitcoin holders add in a single month since October of 2014. And a lot of people are expecting that this was happening because of the correction we saw in the market, where Bitcoin went from around $71,000, $72,000 per coin down to less than $56,000 per coin. So a lot of people are expecting and suspect that this is because we saw that massive correction and major wallets were taking advantage of the dip that we had seen. In addition to this, we can also see that in terms of institutions, we saw that Ethereum ETF get approved. We've seen a lot more traction still going on in the Bitcoin ETFs, so that probably drove some more money coming in from those large holders or addresses as well. In addition to this, if we're looking at in terms of historical returns, I wanted to quickly interrupt today's video to bring a word from our channel partner, Trustbet on-chain. Trustbet on-chain, symbol TBET, is a project built on the Solana blockchain and is a fully licensed casino and sports betting project. It's currently in its pre-sale, and you could go ahead and take part in that over on their website. But ultimately, Trustbet represents a democratized iGaming universe that challenges the centralized nature of traditional platforms. So sports betting, casino, classic gaming, and lottery are soon all going to be available on the platform, and through its DAO structure on the Solana blockchain, Trustbet breaks the existing practices ultimately that are being implemented by traditional players, and they have transparency, fairness, and community-driven decision-making process via their DAO. It's the first ever of its kind. On top of all this, Trustbet leverages smart contracts to facilitate immediate and direct settlements, thereby bypassing the typical delays that you see with the traditional payment systems and traditional players. So by participating in their pre-sale currently, you get exclusive access to the Trustbet on-chain platform, unique bonuses and promotions, and you get access to a lower pre-sale price than anyone else will ever be able to partake in, because over time the pre-sale price continues to increase as they hit certain milestones. So ultimately, this is your only chance to be among the first to experience the future of blockchain technology in iGaming and be part owner and operator with full voting rights and 50% of profits delivered to staked TBET holders in the DAO with the casino rollout. Anyways, this is a massive opportunity, so you definitely don't want to miss out on it. And let's get back to the program. July has historically been a pretty green month, and last month we had a slight finish in the green with up around 2.9% for Bitcoin. The one thing I do want to mention though is August is historically a pretty red month. So moving into the remainder of this month and going through the next 30 days, it looks very likely that we could just see Bitcoin trading sideways, if not drop lower to, potentially below $60,000 per coin, simply just based off of historical averages. Like I said, there's a lot to be bullish about and excited about for the remainder of the year. Like if you look in election years, you usually see the markets do extremely well for the last quarter of the year. But right now in August, it's summer, usually a bit slower. And so just looking at historical averages coupled with what's going on in the markets with interest rates, it looks like it could be a pretty slow next month or two before we potentially see a massive rally towards the end of the year leading up into elections. Now let's talk about what's been going on with government, a little bit of what they've been talking about with crypto and Bitcoin. So if we're looking at this, we can see that Senator Loomis recently introduced a bill for a Bitcoin strategic reserve in the Senate. So Senator Cynthia Loomis officially introduced the Bitcoin strategic reserve bill that would direct the United States government to start a reserve fund for the scarce decentralized asset. It says ultimately this Bitcoin bill laid out a goal of accumulating 1 million Bitcoin over time, which is around 5% of the total supply of Bitcoin, and they are proposing that they're going to do this using existing treasury funds to acquire the Bitcoin in amounts that mirror the U.S. Treasury's gold allocation. So it's not just this one senator. Like, we've also seen a number of other senators say, look, this could be a good opportunity to create a brighter future for generations to come, and a lot of people are pretty excited about this, but ultimately, it's just introducing a bill, and, nothing happens until it would pass the Senate, pass the House, and be signed off by the president. So it's still a long ways away, but it's just some other good news coming out for Bitcoin that could help for the remainder of the year. Now let's talk about the SEC, because what I want to talk about is with Cardano, Solana, and a few other altcoins, because recently the SEC amended their complaint in the Binance case. And basically what happened is that if we look over on X, Tyler Winklevoss posted about this. It says, look, all of a sudden the SEC is no longer trying to classify 10 tokens, Solana, ADA, Matic, FIL, Atom, Sand, Mana, Algo, AXS, and Cody as securities. They're amending their case against Binance US to remove this allocation so the court won't have to rule on it. And a lot of people are very excited about this because they're like, look, this means that the judge isn't going to have to decide whether those 10 tokens, including Cardano and Solana and Matic, are securities or not, which could potentially open up the door for ETFs in the future. If they could open up the door for potentially a Solana ETF or a Cardano ETF or a Matic ETF. And this is something that a lot of people are really excited about because it would bring even more money and institutional money into the crypto space. So this is something that is very, very exciting. It's not like a sure thing that we will see a Solana ETF or a Cardano ETF, but simply this is something that shows they're at least considering it. Otherwise, they would have just kept it in this case. In addition to this, if we're looking at what's been going on with Cardano, we've been continuing to see major development updates. And if you're looking at their weekly development report, from this most recent report, we could see that there were a lot of new projects being built on Cardano's blockchain, despite the recent pullback on the market. We also can see that Cardano recently surpassed 94 million transactions on the blockchain, and they're closing in on right around 560 million of total value locked. So these are like record numbers that we're seeing for Cardano in terms of projects being built and in terms of ADA locked. And if you just look at previous reports, like from last week to this week, it went from 548 million ADA locked to 556 million ADA locked. So again, that is something that is very, very exciting to see. Next thing I want to go over is going to be what's been going on with Core, because Core blockchain is extremely undervalued if you're looking at it in terms of a few metrics. So the first metric is going to be with Core, that is Core blockchain in terms of Bitcoin that is staked. So there's 4,866 Bitcoin that is staked with Core blockchain, and that's right around $320 million, depending on the price of Bitcoin at the time. But seeing that there's nearly $320 million of Bitcoin staked, but Core's market cap is only $1 billion, that is a massive, massive percentage of people who believe in Core's blockchain, institutions that are staking Bitcoin on Core's blockchain versus its market cap. Around 30 to 35% of the total market cap of Core, we're seeing in basically like a TVL, basically in just people staking Bitcoin on Core's blockchain. So that would basically mean that soon enough, we're going to see more than half of Core's total blockchain and market cap. We're going to see half of its total market cap just being staked in terms of Bitcoin, which would really suggest that it's pretty undervalued. It should be at least around a $3 billion valuation if it has around $300 million in Bitcoin stake. So presents some pretty significant upside from here. And last thing I do want to go over is going to be with ChainGPT. So if we're looking at ChainGPT, they recently announced a major partnership with Tars AI. Tars AI is around a $10 million market cap project focused on the AI sector. And you can see that this is a pretty major partnership for both ChainGPT and with Tars AI. Not only this, ChainGPT has been announcing major partnership after major partnership. They announced a major one with OKX, the major crypto exchange, where they were doing a massive giveaway of tens of thousands of dollars. They announced another major partnership with Alpha Blockchain. And while we're seeing a lot of quiet times in the market, not a lot of major announcements, major partnerships, we're continuing to see ChainGPT announce major partnership after major partnership. And as a result of this, we've started to see their price bounce back pretty significantly. It had dropped to around nearly 11 cents per token, up around 20-30% from that right now. So things are looking a lot better for that as well.